Hi, my name's Vanessa, and I have Cushing's syndrome, not disease. The disease is when you have a tumor on your pituitary gland, and the one I have syndrome is caused by other things like tumors in other areas, or sometimes steroids can cause Cushing's. I've been suffering with symptoms for a very long time, I think, before I realized I had a disease like this. I started getting stretch marks a while back on my legs, but I didn't really know what they were. And one time I had a mark on my arm, and I thought maybe it was from falling off my bike. I just never had seen anything like it, and I didn't know it was something too weird until they got a lot worse, which was a lot later on. Um, I developed the round face at first, and my mom and sister called it chipmunk cheeks. And then I developed the belly, and for a while, I even thought maybe I was pregnant or something terrible like that. And I've been struggling for years with academic probation and on and off jobs and a slew of relationships with friends and the like that were rough. The reason I didn't go to a doctor for a long time, even though I was, having a lot of hard times, is because they wouldn't have found anything. If I went to the doctor, I would have seemed to be healthy. It seemed like the emotional and cognitive problems hit me a lot earlier on than anything else. And there's always been, depression supposedly in my family. So, and I had a friend die 2 or 3 years ago that, I was upset about for a while, and, I thought that was a factor. But it did get to a point where I couldn't stand up without using my arm for support, and I couldn't, do laps in the pool like I used to be able to. I got really tired, and I didn't feel better after exercise. I felt worse. And I've always been really healthy. I walk and bike everywhere. I eat really well. I don't really eat a lot of sweets. And going upstairs was harder too. And I've also always had asthma, so I don't know. It's really hard to realize that you're sick, and I had no idea something like this existed in the world. So I had no clue. But eventually, it was my mom really that got the most worried. And when I had come home one weekend, there was a couple weeks left of school, we decided to go to our urgent care to see what they said. So I'm lucky that I went to a doctor who recognized the symptoms of Cushing's almost immediately. The first thing that happened when we went to the doctor is my blood pressure was really high, and if I had known that, earlier on, I would have gone to the doctor a really long time ago because that's not good, and I've never had high blood pressure. A year ago when I had gone to the doctor, the only thing that was abnormal was my sodium levels were like slightly low, and they said maybe I should come in for checkup, in another 6 months. Otherwise, there hadn't been any other signs that something was wrong. And here we go, like year and a half later, and my blood pressure is through the roof. But yeah, the guy we saw said the stretch marks on my sides were classic Cushing's, and that I had the buffalo hump on my back, and my face was a lot rounder than it is now. And yeah, so everything pointed to Cushing's in his opinion. So checked my cortisol right away. If you have high cortisol, that means you have Cushing's, and that was high. And he got me an MRI scan right away because the most common reason is pituitary tumor, which is in your brain. That definitely scared the crap out of me. Felt like I was in an episode of House. Brain tumor, that just sounds crazy. And then the MRI didn't show anything. Since I didn't have the most common form of pituitary tumor, took another month or so of testing. I went to see a specialist who I couldn't even get an appointment for until like 3 weeks after I found this out. So I unfortunately just went back to school for 2 weeks and just had to, suffer through my finals and do the best I could, even though I was just getting worse. And then it really seemed like it was going to take forever to figure out what was wrong with me. The specialist did a bunch of blood tests and yada yada, to try and figure out what the cause was. At one point, I was getting worried that he thought I had pseudo Cushing's, which can happen if you're like drink a lot or if you're depressed. I drink because I'm a college student, and again, I said depression, is common in my family. I've always kind of struggled with being depressed sometimes and stuff. But eventually, actually, my normal physician, pressured him to let me have a CT scan because I wanted to be able to go back to school in the spring, and I wasn't, getting any answers. And this physician had actually felt bad because the first time I went in to see her to get medicine for my high blood pressure, she didn't think I had Cushing's because she did not have the paperwork on that. Although I was very frustrated that she just wrote it off and didn't look at me when I was telling her to look at my stretch marks. I mean, she called it a typo. So the guy at urgent care had made a typo. And I understand she didn't have the blood work, but she should have double checked in my opinion. I mean, if I didn't have Cushing's, what did I have? I've always been skinny, and I just felt like, everything was out of control, and to be told I didn't have Cushing's was really frustrating. I've heard this is actually very common with a lot of Cushing's patients, unfortunately. So that was another setback. But after I had the CT scan finally, 2 hours later, they called me and told me I had a tumor on my left adrenal gland. So I had to have surgery for that. So I had surgery on my left adrenal gland. Only about a week or so after I found out I had the tumor. And it was benign. There's very little chance it would be cancerous. I didn't want to have surgery that soon, but I didn't really have a choice. I've always been really scared of surgery, so that was really hard to deal with, but I knew I had to get it out. So now I only have one adrenal gland, just one. And all I want to say for now about, I'm in the recovery process obviously right now. It's only been 2 or 3 months. Still managing to go to school part-time, but the first thing I noticed after surgery was I emotionally just felt so much better. I felt calm. I didn't feel like I needed to cry and freak out about everything, and my ability to concentrate it was amazing. I went back to classes a week later, and I'm doing 10 times better in school than I have since I can remember now in my college career. And everyone told me that my voice had changed, that I sounded like the old Vanessa again. Got my even killed voice back, because everyone thought I was like cranky and crazy all the time and like cried about everything. And yeah, I'll talk more about the recovery process so far, but it's just as rough, as having it in some ways. My legs hurt all the time. My roommates had to call 911 last week because I fainted or my legs gave out, or I'm not even sure what happened. I don't remember falling. I just remember walking across my kitchen and they found me laying there. So and the EMTs didn't know what Cushing's syndrome was. That was not fun. But yeah, anyway, to sum it up, I'm only 26 years old, and I feel like I'm 40 sometimes because it's just I feel like an old lady. I shouldn't, be this sick at my age. And although I was very relieved when I found out I had Cushing's, because all of a sudden everything made sense. I mean, everything I read about Cushing's, it just made sense. And for the first time, really since like I hit puberty, I felt like I made sense, and that was the only good thing I suppose that's come out of having Cushing's is, having a reason for a lot of, stressors I've had for a very long time.